Hello students, welcome to Management Accounting class. In today's class, we will be discussing about the working capital ratios. Okay, but before we start today's class, we need to write interpretation for the problem number 6. Okay, in the previous class, we have solved problem number 6, which is on combined problem on liquidity and solvency ratios. Okay, we have calculated current ratio, liquid ratio, then debt equity ratio, capital gearing ratio and proprietary ratio. Okay, the current ratio is 1.8:1, liquid ratio is 1.73:1. See here. Then debt equity ratio is 0.22:1, capital gearing ratio is 0.69:1. So this is the solution. Then proprietary ratio is 0.63:1. Okay, now we need to write the interpretation. Okay, so the first interpretation is on liquidity ratios. The current ratio 1.8 is below the standard ratio. Standard ratio how much? 2:1, which indicates that the working capital position is not satisfactory. Okay, further, liquid ratio 1.73 is above the standard ratio. How much is the standard liquid ratio? It is 1:1, which indicates that liquid assets are sufficient to cover liquid liabilities, and hence overall liquidity position is good, but company should try to improve its current ratio. That is, company should try to maintain the safety margin of liquidity position, that is 2:1. Next interpretation is for debt equity ratio. Debt equity ratio 0.22 is much below the standard. Standard ratio is 2:1, which shows that company is more conservative as regards raising long-term debt, and it is good policy but does not provide the benefits of trading on equity to equity shareholders. Next one, capital gearing ratio is 0.69:1, indicates that the proportion of long-term debt and preferential capital is less than the own fund, which means that company is more dependent on own fund than the long-term debt and preference capital. Okay, it is a good financial policy. And the last one is proprietary ratio, which is 0.63, is more than the ideal ratio. That is, it is 63%. Okay, if you convert into the percentage, it will come 63%, whereas proprietary ratio more than 50% will be considered as ideal ratio or standard ratio. So here, which indicates that is 0.63 is more than the ideal ratio, which indicates that the overall financial position of the firm is strong. Okay, so right here, therefore overall solvency is said to be satisfactory. And this is the interpretations for the liquidity ratio and solvency ratios. Okay, I hope you understood, and you can write interpretations for the next problems by your own. Okay, now today we are going to study about working capital ratio. Okay, now what do you mean by working capital? Working capital is the difference between current assets and current liabilities. Okay, whereas working capital ratio means it is the ratio shows whether working capital has been efficiently used in making the sales. High ratio indicates higher operating efficiency of a firm. Low ratio indicates, that is, it is said vice versa, which means lower working capital ratio indicates like low efficiency of a firm. The formula to calculate working capital ratio is net sales divided by working capital. Net sales is equal to sales minus sales returns, whereas working capital is equal to current assets minus current liabilities. Okay. In case of working capital, separate ratio can be ascertained for each component of working capital to reveal which component is not fully contributing to sales. Some of them are as follows. Okay, component of working capital is nothing but the items of current assets and current liabilities. So how well these components or items are contributing towards the net sales, this information we will get to know after calculating the ratios, that is working capital ratios. The important components of working capital are, first one is debtors turnover ratio. Debtors form an important part of current assets. That is, debtors is one of the important current assets. Therefore, quality of debtors to a great extent decides the liquidity of a firm. Debtors turnover ratio establishes relationship between credit sales and average account receivables. Okay, it can be calculated with the help of following formula. Debtors turnover ratio is equal to credit sales divided by average account receivables. Okay, credit sales divided by average account receivables. We can calculate credit sales. Suppose if the information is not given in the problem regarding credit sales, then we can find out credit sales with the help of total sales. Okay, take the total sales, deduct cash sales, whatever balance remains, that is the credit sales. The goods which is sold on credit basis called as credit sales. Okay, whereas average account receivables is equal to opening debtors and bills receivables plus closing debtors and bills receivables, that is closing bills receivables divided by 2. We will get the amount of average account receivables. The interpretation of debtors turnover ratio is, higher ratio indicates that the debts are collected more promptly and vice versa. That is, lower ratio indicates that the debts are not being properly collected or promptly collected. Okay. Now next one is, the next working capital ratio is debtors collection period ratio. Debtors turnover ratio will be calculated to find out how much amount of sales is being done on credit basis, and out of the total credit sales, how much amount of money or our average account receivables the firm has received. Okay, how much amount of credit the firm has received, this information we will get to know with the help of debtors turnover ratio. Whereas debtors collection period ratio shows the extent to which the debts have been collected in time. Okay, so how much time the firm took to collect their debt, this information we can get to know with the help of debtors collection period ratio. A shorter collection period signifies prompt collection of dues, while a longer period signifies poor collection performance. So this is the interpretation of debtors collection period ratio. Okay, so that is why I have put it in bold form. Okay, the ratio may be calculated by any one of the following methods. There are various methods to calculate debtors collection period ratio. Okay, next line is the formula. Debtors collection period is equal to months or days in a year divided by debtors turnover ratio. Here you can take days as well as months, it is up to you. Okay, so this basically debtors collection period ratio will gives you the information how much time the firm has taken to collect their dues. If the period is less, which indicates that the firm is very prompt in making the collection or receiving the due amount, and if the period is long, then the firm has not been properly collected their dues. Okay, it shows that firm is not efficient to for making their collections. Okay, and the formula is this: months or days in a year divided by debtors turnover ratio. Here we calculate the debtors turnover ratio. So same answer we have to take here. Okay, or else you can calculate debtors turnover ratio with the help of average account receivables and credit sales for the year. Okay, so this is the formula: average account receivables into months or days in a year divided by credit sales for the year. Okay, so even this will provide you the debtors collection period ratio. Or else there is one more method, okay, to find out debtors collection period ratio. Debtors collection period ratio is equal to accounts receivables divided by average monthly or daily credit sales. Okay, so these are the three methods are available to calculate debtors collection period ratio. Based on the information available in the problem, we can choose any one of these methods. Okay, and this is the interpretation of the debtors collection period ratio. Okay, a shorter collection period signifies prompt collection of dues, while a longer period signifies poor collection of performance. Okay, so if you want, you can write here interpretation. Okay, next one is creditors turnover ratio. Like sometimes how we sell the goods on credit basis, the same way when we need the raw materials, then we have the option of purchasing it on credit basis. So how much amount of purchases we have done, how much time it like required or took by the firm to make the repayment of those credit purchases, this information we will get with the help of creditors turnover ratio. Okay, creditors turnover ratio indicates the speed with which the payment is made to creditors for credit purchases. Okay, it is calculated as follows. This is the formula of creditors turnover ratio. Creditors turnover ratio is equal to credit purchases divided by average account payable. Okay, whereas credit purchases is equal to total purchases minus cash purchases. Okay, whereas average account payables is equal to, here we should write here payables. Okay, now it is correct. Average account payables is equal to opening creditors and bills payable plus closing creditors and closing bills payables divided by 2. Okay, we have to take the opening creditors and opening bills payable plus closing creditors and closing bills payables, add both the values and divided by 2, we will get the average account payables. Okay, next one, debt payment period ratio. Okay, like this ratio will gives you the information regarding how much time the firm took or the speed with which the payment is made to the creditors. Okay, whereas like this debt payment period ratio gives the average credit period enjoyed by the firm in payment of dues to creditors. Okay, it is calculated by any one of the following methods. Next line, creditors payment period ratio is equal to months or days in a year divided by creditors turnover ratio. Okay, this is one method to find out creditors payment period ratio. Or there is one more method, creditors turnover ratio is equal to, or creditors payment period ratio is equal to average account payable into months or days in a year divided by credit purchases for the year. Okay, or accounts payable divided by average monthly or daily credit purchases. Okay, so these are the methods to find out debt payment period ratio. As I said, based on available information in the problem, we can choose any one of these methods. Interpretation for the creditors turnover ratio and debt payment ratio is high creditors turnover ratio and low debt payment period ratio signify that creditors are paid promptly, and if it is low creditors turnover ratio and low debt payment ratio or higher debt payment ratio signifies that the creditors are not being paid promptly. Okay, so this is the interpretation for creditors turnover ratio and debt payment period ratio. Okay, last one is stock turnover ratio. The fifth one is stock turnover ratio. Stock turnover ratio is also known as inventory turnover ratio. Okay, this ratio establishes relationship between cost of sales and average inventory. It indicates whether investment in inventory is within proper limit or not. The formula to calculate stock turnover ratio is cost of goods sold divided by average inventory, or net sales divided by average inventory at selling price. Okay, so what is the proper amount to invest in the stock? This information we will get to know with the help of stock turnover ratio. Okay, whether the investment in inventory is within proper limit or not, this information will be provided by the stock turnover ratio. Okay, and these are the two methods to calculate stock turnover ratio. Okay, average inventory is nothing but opening inventory plus closing inventory divided by 2. Okay, why divided by 2? Because we are finding the average. Okay, so these are the working capital ratios. Okay, once again we'll revise quickly. Working capital ratio means what? This is the ratio which shows the whether a working capital has been properly or efficiently used in making the sales. The formula of working capital ratio is net sales divided by working capital. Net sales is equal to sales minus sales returns, whereas working capital is equal to current assets minus current liabilities. Okay, and these are the various component of working capital. First one is debtors turnover ratio. This ratio will gives you the information regarding how much the firm has sold their goods on credit basis and how much the amount of credit they have received. This information we will get with the help of debtors turnover ratio, because we all of us know that selling the goods only on cash basis is not possible. So that is the reason company give the credit policy. So how much goods have been sold on credit basis, out of these credit sales, how much amount the firm has received. The information will be provided by this debtors turnover ratio. Okay, and this is the formula: credit sales divided by average account receivables. Okay, average account receivables is nothing but opening debtors and bills receivables plus closing debtors and closing bills receivables divided by 2. Okay, higher ratio indicates that debts are collected more promptly and vice versa. Next one is debtors collection period ratio. How much time the firm has taken to collect their dues, or collect the like how much time the firm has taken to like making the collection of dues. This information will be provided with the help of debtors collection period ratio. Okay, so see here, shorter collection period signifies prompt collection of dues, while longer period signifies poor collection of performance. And these are the methods to calculate debtors collection period ratio. Okay, we can calculate the debtors collection period ratio with the help of this formula, that is months or days in a year divided by debtors turnover ratio, or average account receivables into months or days in a year divided by credit sales for the year, or account receivables divided by average monthly or daily credit sales. Okay, next one, creditors turnover ratio. As all the time we cannot sell all the goods on cash basis, the same way sometimes firm purchases goods on credit basis. It may be raw material, or if you are in trading business, goods in your firm. So like when you purchase the goods on credit basis, how much amount of materials or how much credit purchases you have done, and out of credit purchases how much amount or how much time you have taken to make the payment of the credit purchases, this information will be provided by the creditors turnover ratio. Formula to calculate creditors turnover ratio is credit purchases divided by average account payable. Credit purchases is nothing but total purchases minus cash purchases, whereas average account payables is equal to opening creditors and opening bills payable plus closing creditors and closing bills payables divided by 2. Okay, and the next one is debt payment period ratio. This ratio gives the information about average credit period enjoyed by the firm in payment of dues to the creditors. Okay, formula is methods or days in a year divided by creditors turnover ratio, or average accounts payable into months or days in a year divided by credit purchases for the year, or accounts payable divided by average monthly or daily credit purchases. Okay, and this is the interpretation of creditors turnover ratio and debt payment period ratio. And the last one is stock turnover ratio. Stock turnover ratio is also known as inventory ratio. This ratio establishes relationship between cost of sales and average inventories. Okay, how much part of cost of sales is relating to the inventories, this information will be provided by the stock turnover ratio. Okay, this ratio indicates whether investment in inventory is in proper limit or not. The formula to find out stock turnover ratio is cost of goods sold divided by average inventory, or net sales divided by average inventory at selling price, whereas average inventory is equal to opening inventory plus closing inventory divided by 2. Okay, so these are the working capital ratios. I hope you understood all the ratios. In the next class we will be solving problems on these ratios. Okay, thank you.